Sorry, Ma. I avert my eyes, open my hand, and trace the pattern on the inside of my palm. 2 stylized hearts, one atop the other, locked in an eternal headbutting competition. I was born with the palm pattern, so I've seen it a million times. But it's still safer to look at that than it is to make eye contact with Ma right now. Not only did Ma just have to repeat herself, but I also haven't accomplished any of the tasks she gave me. I was handed very explicit instructions to follow before autumn arrived. Pack my suitcase for the flight and an overnight bag for the sleepover. At this point, 0 out of the 2 are complete, and I don't even have an excuse to fall back on. Mom makes her way into my room. Her frown deepens as she sidesteps open comic books and half-eaten granola bars. She's wearing that principal gaze, the kind of face one might make if they're reading an essay consisting of nothing but misspelled words. It's the same look that makes the other 7th graders flee into the nearest classroom before they can incur the wrath of Principal Powell. Yeah, my mother is the principal of my middle school, which means she runs my household and my school. She's known among the student body by many names, including, but not limited to, Principal Powell, the Supreme Commander, the Breaker of Wills, and the Deliverer of Detentions. Imagine being given detention by your mother, and then having to ride home with her. If my life was a story, it would be one of those try not to cringe threads you might read on social media. To make matters worse, Ma seems incapable of separating home and school. Whenever I forget to take the chicken out of the freezer, she lectures me, and then proceeds to prosecute me for forgetting to turn in my language arts essay. Ma trains that deadly, all too familiar gaze on me. I find myself sitting up a little straighter. I know that I'm going to get a lecture about the things I forgot to do. That's without question. But as an expert on getting crucified by lecture, I wonder what approach she'll take. Will she launch into a Comedy Central-style roast session where she talks about my suitcase, my messy room, and the stack of dishes in the sink? Will she opt for something a little subtler? Or will she just stand there and wait until I burst into tears? Ma doesn't do any of that. Instead, her eyes soften. How are you feeling? I'm fine. Never been better. I keep my voice steady while I tell the bold-faced lie. It's been 3 weeks since Grandma passed. Whenever anyone asks how I'm feeling, I try to throw on a lopsided grin and claim that I'm not feeling anything, even though I secretly am. Grandma was one of my favorite people in the world. She had a great sense of humor. She could throw down in the kitchen, and she was surprisingly good at video games. The weird thing is that recently, I found myself missing the smaller things. The Geo recordings she would play in her apartment, her super throaty chuckle, and the wild stories she used to tell. Grandma must have told me about a million unsolicited, half-English, half-Fenty stories about everything from our family to mythology. She had this weird habit of getting really into her stories. She would stand on furniture and put on funny voices for different characters, all while her eyes sparkled like jewels. I remember making fun of her for it when I was younger. But looking back, it was pretty cool. She's gone now, and I'm never going to hear another story from her again. I shuffle my feet. Yep, all good over here. Ma holds my gaze for a beat before glancing at the empty hand-me-down suitcase. I thought I told you to have this packing done yesterday. Uh-oh, I may have spoken too soon. The indictment starts now. You know, Ma begins, it's the same carelessness that gets you zeros on your assignments. Even if you turn them in late, you can still get at least half credit. Turns out Ma went for the old double roast strategy. A classic. I still got tomorrow morning to pack, though, don't I? Right before the flight? I don't think so. Ma's eyes are sharp enough to draw blood. I told you to have this done yesterday. Stop procrastinating and get it.